Hello, welcome to my channel. This is an introduction video as to what this channel is, and it's basically just going to be me sharing a little bit about who I am, my background, how I got into trading, and the purpose of what this channel is about. So my name's Samayan, I'm 34 years old and from England, UK, and it's basically me just documenting my trading journey. And I'm not trying to teach or entertain anyone, I'm just using it as a way to keep track of what I'm doing and how I'm learning and how I'm progressing. So a little bit about my background. I used to play StarCraft 2 professionally under the name Bling. I played competitively from 2011 to 2015, but it got to a point where I just burnt out and I just couldn't do it anymore, and I knew that I needed to do something different. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next, but I knew that I just had to change. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I did come across trading. I can't remember exactly how, but I remember just looking at a few charts, and I remember thinking, how on earth do you learn how to do this? And I didn't look into it any more than that, but I guess I didn't really have a passion for it at the time, but I ended up going on to doing what I was passionate about. That's what made the most sense to me. So I started studying sport and then ended up going to university. And when I was at university, that was the first time that I actually invested in the stock market. I had a little bit of money and it was just sitting there. So I liked the idea of investing. It always made sense to me. For some reason, I just felt like if you've got money, you should invest it in some way. And so in doing that, I bought some Tesla, I bought some Apple, and I bought some Nvidia shares. And I didn't know anything about technicals or fundamentals. I just liked the companies and had a bit of an idea, or had a thought process about why I thought they were good. And so I bought them. And then a year later, in 2017, that was the first mainstream Bitcoin crypto run. And I'd heard about Bitcoin through a friend at a gaming event in 2013. So when it came around this time, I felt like it was worth paying attention to. I could see how the gaming industry evolved over the years, and it just made sense that Bitcoin was coming back around or doing the same in a different way. And the fact that it was an online digital currency, it was basically what I'd used throughout my gaming career, online digital currencies in the game. So instead of buying Bitcoin directly, I researched into it a little bit more, just trying to understand what it was. And I ended up buying a Bitcoin mining contract, which it broke even. It didn't really make me any money, but it allowed me to really understand kind of what Bitcoin was. And at the same time, I ended up buying XRP right at the top, but it was only with a little bit. But at the same time, a little bit of money. But at the same time, it was the first experience of I guess buying the top, buying into euphoria, and watching my investment basically fall down 99%. So after that, I didn't really follow the stock market or follow Bitcoin or anything for a few years. And then when 2020 came around, uh, just after the COVID crash and everything sold off, when I saw crypto start to recover, I felt like it was just the same thing happening again, and it was going to have another run that it did in 2017 and what it had done before that. So I sold all my stocks and I went all in on Bitcoin and crypto. I bought some other cryptos as well, and things worked out pretty well. But I realised when everything started to come crashing down again, there was more to just hodling, and there was potentially some skills that I could learn to stop me from going through these massive drawdowns, which at the time wasn't a very nice experience. Everything came down about 70%. So during that 2022 to 2023 bear market, I started reading some trading books, and that was my first real effort into learning how to trade in some way. But I felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere. I was trying to apply what I learned, and it just didn't make sense to me. And at the same time, it was coming towards the end of the bear market. Crypto was starting to move up again, um, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to buy and hold again, and that's what I did, and it worked out pretty well again. And then about halfway through 2023 to 2024, I felt like it was potentially going to happen again. I didn't want to give all my profits back again, so I really wanted to learn how to trade. So I came back to the idea of learning how to trade. I started looking into ICT. I somehow came across him on YouTube. It seemed like there was a lot of hype around him at the time, and that was the first time that I really committed to learning how to trade. And that was a 6-month period, and I applied myself as best as what I felt like I could at the time. But again, I came back to the understanding or thought process that there just wasn't edge in what he was teaching, and it was just the same kind of thing. And I'm clearly missing something, but I don't know what it is. And after that was when I decided that I'm actually going to pay for a course, and I hadn't paid for one before, but purely because I felt like they were all kind of scams, and that people that were selling courses couldn't actually trade themselves. But I came across Tom Dante, and I come across his course, so I bought it and just felt like it was the right thing to do. And actually it was. I definitely learned a lot from him, and the way that I now view the market, I would say that he's instilled a solid foundation in that. But at the same time, with what he was teaching, it wasn't really feeling aligned in terms of, it was very passive, and I felt like it wasn't in line with how I wanted to trade. So after trying that for a little bit, about 5 months later, I came across Lance Breitstein, and he was a day trader, and I hadn't tried day trading before. And I felt like it made sense to explore it, seeing as trading kind of felt like a game. I used to be a gamer. I might be good at day trading. So when I came across his course, it helped me a lot again in the way that he views things, and what he was teaching. I was able to apply it to crypto, and I guess for the most part, I was doing okay with it. I wouldn't say that I was consistently profitable, but I was finding live trades and executing them well and getting some winning trades. But at the same time, it just felt like it wasn't right. It felt like I was just going back to my gaming days, and it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I realized that day trading was not how I envisioned my trading journey to be. So after that, after trying that for a little bit, I was still undecided about what to do. And then through one of Lance's videos, he mentioned Qullamaggie, and I looked into who he was and his journey. Apparently he documented everything on YouTube, so I checked him out. And the way that he was speaking about the markets just really, really resonated. And his episodic pivot approach specifically it just felt like the holy grail. It felt like everything that I understood and about the markets and the way that I viewed things was just that in itself. The fundamentals, the price action, all of it, and the fact that it was more of a swing style approach, a swing trading approach. It really felt like that was the right thing to pursue. So that basically leads me to where I am now, where I've been trading episodic pivots for about 6 months, since January 2026. And at first, things looked fairly simple in terms of what Qullamaggie was teaching, the way that he was speaking about things. He was obviously live streaming his trading, so I could see that it was doable. But the more I tried to live trade, the more I realized there was a lot more to it. And I guess my biggest realization to date, and it might change, but is the fact that actually, even though the fundamentals and the catalyst is kind of what makes an episodic pivot work, actually more important than that is probably the time, price and volume, in terms of a consolidation period before the breakout, as well as the price showing that there's lower in volatility and that volume's coming down as well, just to really create this springboard for price to accelerate higher when that catalyst does come into the market. So that was a big realization for me, because I was definitely trading fundamentals more than, or focusing more on fundamentals rather than anything else. And that was keeping me out of a lot of trades. And I was passing on a lot of trades just because I felt like the fundamentals weren't there, or the catalyst wasn't there. So leading on to why I created this channel is basically just to document that journey of my learning and my progress, and how I'm evolving over time and learning how to trade this setup over time. I'm at a place now where I feel like I've been doing it for 6 months. I feel like I'm starting to get a better understanding, but I'm definitely not where I know that I can be. But in uploading videos to this channel, in terms of my trade reviews, my market observations, my weekly reviews, my monthly reviews, all these things, it will allow me to use these videos as a way to look back on and reflect and refine my process, but then also potentially allow me to think of new ways that I haven't thought of yet, to explore and to improve my trading overall. So yeah, that's basically the summary of my channel and this introduction video. So I will look forward to creating these videos, and appreciate you watching.